Speaking of just, some of the learnings along the way, over Mother's Day, which we just had, you actually said, Mom, I just have to, let you know that I see all the sacrifices and things that you actually did to make me better.
Hmm.
And that was something that I really wasn't expecting you to say on the call for Mother's Day. And of course, I was on the phone like, because most moms think they're going to hear these things when their kids are like in their 30s or mid 30s, not like in their mid 20s, right?
Hmm.
And so, what kind of made you go ahead and say something like that and express that, like for this Mother's Day?
I would say moving from Charlotte to Houston, and being by myself in a bigger city definitely opened my eyes to some of the sacrifices that you and Dad made for me and Avery while we were younger. Also, just knowing the strength that you had to raise us. I mean, no one gets a book to raise their kids. You don't really know what the next step is, or hey, when they turn 2, you do this exactly. There's really no manual. So to really realize that you guys were kind of raising me from scratch with no recipe, I thought that was really good and cool to see,
Yep, yep.
or see now rather than see it, while I was growing up. Because I thought you guys were mean, and now knowing that you guys aren't mean is like really good to know.
So when did it turn out that, you know what, my parents are not mean? I don't know if we're cool parents, but we're not mean parents. So when did that kind of highlight for you?
I had to definitely leave high school, had to go to Hampton, probably be there 6 months. And then I was like, I think I miss my mom. I think I want to get a home cooked meal. I want to go back home and have her go over my homework with me, and make sure everything's right and do this right. I would say that's probably the time that I really realized that I needed you guys more than I've let on before.
Yep, yep. And I'm kind of glad you're sharing that because there's so many parents who sometimes feel that their kids don't need them.
Hmm.
And I actually have the sentiment of thinking the older you get, the more your kids do need you, right?
Hmm.
Of course, when they're babies, you look at those stages, they definitely need you.
Yes.
Elementary school, middle, high school, of course. Certain times they just need you in different ways.
Hmm.
And around those specific ages of 18 to early 20s, that's when the pushback happens because, that's when independence arises and kids want to be independent. They don't want to be with their parents. They don't want to be around their parents. They don't want to hear what their parents have to say, even though something your dad would say, we walked this journey before.
And
We
that's the
walked.
thing. We've walked this journey before. You have. That's what we appreciate. That's what I appreciate about you guys now is the experience that you guys bring.
Yep.
Being able to call you guys and be like, hey, how do I pay this bill? How do I do this? How do I do that? I mean, you guys have gone through all of this before, and to see you guys having gone through all of that and knowing that you went through it, I always say that I forget you guys have lived past lives, right? But now coming back to it, I realize that you guys have, and I have to, take that experience and use it because it helps me now.
Yep, yep. But, just to level set, it was hard for you. I
Mhm.
mean, there were times where you were just like, I don't want to hear anything they have to say right now and be extremely defensive. But then now when we have these conversations, you just are like a sponge. You just absorb it all.
Yeah, I would say the biggest thing for me is um, having to take a step back, learning to listen more. I would say that change also happened while I was at Hampton University a little bit. Just taking a lot more time, being more patient. You guys were always preaching patience, preaching, telling me to slow down, telling me to calm down. But I was really having to learn that for myself instead of having to
Mhm.
listen to it.
Yep, yep.